Hey, you're listening to Forensic Geek Radio. I'm your host, Detective Zack Foxen. So, I apologize that this episode's a little late. I've been in a murder trial this week. So, instead, we're going to watch a video. Particularly, a video answering a question by one of our listeners. Hey guys, Detective Zack here. Welcome back. So this question is referencing latent shoe impressions and their relevancy in criminal investigations. I teach a class on shoe impressions and recovering shoe impressions. One of the best things I've ever heard is that no criminal has ever levitated into a crime scene. What that means is that latent shoe impressions are possibly one of the most overlooked forms of evidence within a crime scene. And shoe impressions can always come in one of two manners. You can have a two-dimensional impression, which is very similar to a latent print, like a fingerprint, or you can have a three-dimensional impression, which is where you're actually having an impression within a multiple surface, like in mud or in dirt. In that case, you would use a casting material. I use dental stone, and you make a mold or a cast of that shoe impression, and you are able to recover it that way. The whole idea is that you want to get as much of that pattern as possible so that you can both classify it and hopefully, if you have a suspect shoe, identify it. This is where we get back to classification and identification characteristics. But this particular question is referencing latent shoe impressions. So we'll talk a little bit about two-dimensional impressions. And just like with fingerprints, you can develop a shoe impression in multiple ways. Whether you use powder, like I've done for this shoe impression, or you can use chemicals. If it's a latent blood shoe impression, you can use a chemical called amino black. But how do you identify an area where you may have a shoe impression? Well, honestly, the best tools that you can use is a flashlight. By using oblique lighting, and what I mean by oblique lighting is lighting at any angle less than 90 degrees. By using oblique lighting, you can search for on pretty much any surface both latent shoe impressions and latent fingerprints. That's a little project you can try at home, is take a flashlight, put your handprint on a piece of glass and look at the window and try it from different angles, and you'll be able to see a varying amount of detail. So once you've identified the area in which you believe you have a latent shoe impression, it once again comes down to what's your substrate or your surface. Is it a surface that you can use black powder on? I've used black powder on wood tile floors, and I get great results. Or is it a very porous surface like concrete? One aspect of this question is a relevant and recent case. Well, in a recent case of mine, I had a latent blood shoe print on a piece of concrete, on concrete floor that wasn't finished. By using amino black, we are able to adhere the chemical to the shoe print and develop that shoe print. And then we can take, of course, our photographs from there, getting that really good detail. One of the most important things to remember when taking those photographs is you always want to take a series of photographs. You can never take too many pictures at a crime scene. But of course, you want to take a set of photographs without a scale, and then you want to take ones with a scale. And what I mean by with a scale is you want a scale like this. This is a L-shaped scale that we use for shoe impressions, so that you can actually see what the dimensions are of your shoe print if I am reviewing them as a shoe print examiner, or same thing with tire tracks. So hopefully that gave you a little bit more insight onto the fascinating world of shoe impressions. I highly recommend a series of books by Bill Bodziak. He's kind of the godfather of shoe prints. He came and started pretty much out of the FBI. But you can search his name, as well as Swig Print is another great place to get some information. Hope you learned something. Leave your comments and questions in the section below, and catch you later.